trip reports are always like at least a 20-minute Craig Stone monologue.
Our limited overlap might make it shorter or longer.
Longer. It may definitely make it longer. Howdy, it's Thursday, March 26th, 2020, and this is episode 122 of Due for a Win, the Atlantic City and Casino Biz podcast. I'm Kyle Askin, joined, as always, by Craig Stone. What's good, Craig?
What is good? I mean, seriously, what is good?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Casinos are closed. We all have the coronavirus.
We're still here.
Yeah, fighting,
sure.
Powering through the coronavirus.
Sure. I mean, probably for you at least. It seems like it's not going so well up near you.
Yeah, everybody around here has it, which is, I mean, the subways and everything were running forever, so that's not that surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't feel great, I have to say. I'm just telling everybody it's allergies, but if you see me at the store, I would stay away.
I actually definitely had something between like Monday and Wednesday of this week, but it was all in my head and not my chest, so I don't think it was coronavirus, but...
Oh, we both have it.
It was very mild, whatever it was. It was like any other cold or whatever that you would get, but didn't feel great. Made me somewhat paranoid, but luckily I'm cooped up in my house, so nothing really changed.
You weren't going to be able to get a test anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Everyone is A-okay though. So what's your life like now? Because the way it's going for me, so I'm watching my kids every morning from like 6 a.m. or whenever they wake up until 1 p.m. And then usually I'll run upstairs after putting the little one down who takes a nap and take a shower and log on work at about 1:30. And then I've been logging off at like 8:30 most nights and taking a couple hours of sick leave a day. Hasn't been the best.
Yeah, mine's not that structured. So I wake up when the kids wake up, pour them some cereal, do some work while I ignore them. And then my wife kind of handles a lot of the kids' stuff because she does a lot of stuff like really early in the morning, even before the kids wake up. And then I usually do work stuff until like 12:30 or 1, and then try to pitch in to help more with the kids stuff in the afternoon. But then I'm like, every 15 minutes I have to like run over and answer an email or like hop on a Zoom conference call or something. So it feels like I've been putting in like 12-hour days, and then I actually look at my time log and I've worked like 6 hours because it's just like constantly interrupted. So it sucks. I mean, everything about it sucks.
My suggestion to you is if you can make a more structured schedule, I think it's been much better for my wife and I than if we were both kind of trying to do that, like both kind of work full time and watch the kids.
Well, I'm doing end user support stuff, and it's whenever it comes in, it comes in.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. Good times.
Our team of 3 full-timers and 7 half-timers who are trying to get the entire college fully online. It's been good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we certainly hope that all of you are doing all right out there, and hope you're all staying safe. But I guess the show must go on. We have to give the people what they demand while they're sitting at home on the couch with nothing better to do than listen to some guys talk about Atlantic City.
It's one time that it's an advantage that we do not record in the same location.
Indeed.
Although I think that's very common nowadays.
Although I just saw that You Can Bet on That put out a podcast. I wonder what they did.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it sometime after I go back to work.
Yeah, that's fair. I certainly haven't listened to any podcasts either, so...
This is going to be our least listened to episode, probably.
I doubt it. I'm sure like episode 4 was our least listened to episode, but...
We don't have any data on that.
Anyway, what happened in 1922? So
we sort of touched on this last episode. The first actual Miss America pageant that was called the Miss America pageant was in 1922. The 1921 pageant was not called the Miss America pageant. The winner was called like the most beautiful girl in the world or something. And then the next year they decided to call her Miss America like retroactively. So the person who won the first actual Miss America pageant was Mary Catherine Campbell. She was another 16-year-old. So again, she won in 1922. And then again, a shocking victory for such an over-the-hill 17-year-old won again in 1923. So she's the only person to win it twice. News.
Something.
History. Yeah. Worth talking about. Construction on the World War I memorial also began in 1922. That's another thing we talked about previously because we talked about Atlantic City's role in World War I in one of the previous look back episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that we have not talked about is Atlantic City in 1922 purchased the Baderfield Airport from its original private owners And I have to say, 100 years later, that investment looks so, so good.
I'm sure it was, given 1922 prices.
That's true. Who knows how much they've, valued that on their books over time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the real question, right? What taxable revenue could they have gotten? I'll throw some other words out there that make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, or more likely that I very clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
It's what the people pay for.
It's true.
You can ask for a refund if you don't like the content that we're giving you. Due for a refund.
We should have a separate Gmail that's due for a refund at gmail.com.
Anyway, we went to Atlantic City a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did go to Atlantic City a couple weeks ago.
How about that?
It was good. I mean, it was okay.
It wasn't very good.
The gambling was not very good.
No.
For you more than me, but even for me, one of my worst trips, I think.
Yeah, do we want to... I don't know, how do you want to do this?
Well, you had 30-something hours before I even got there, so what happened in all that time? Maybe not 30 hours. 20-something, 25.
Yeah, so I guess let me look at my calendar. Oh, it was 2 weeks ago today. I left early in the morning and headed up to Atlantic City and got there, I don't know, right around lunchtime, a little before. And checked into the Caesars Ocean Tower, which I was super excited about, given that I had never stayed in the Ocean Tower before. And I'd actually heard some reviews, I think, in the past that it was pretty nice. Let me tell you, it was not nice. You should avoid. Stick to the Centaurian Tower, I think, is definitely my advice.
So what about it is not good?
It's just, one of those rooms that it seems like they just need to totally redo everything about. I mean... The building itself was fine, but just needs new carpet, new furniture, new everything.
Old stuff.
It's old.
How's your view?
Not good. Of nothing, basically.
But better than the lobby at Caesars?
Yes, it is much better than looking to the inside of the lobby. Nothing is worse than that.
So what did you do all afternoon by yourself and evening and night?
Believe it or not, I gambled a whole bunch, although not as much as you would have thought, given that the gambling already was going quite terrible. So anyway, I got in, checked in. I went up to Ocean actually for a little bit because I had a whole lot of free play available to me. I played up there a bit, mostly Paigao, and did not go terribly well. And so I headed back down to Caesars pretty early, I have to say.
So wait, Paigao tiles or Paigao poker?
Tiles.
So what do you think about the Asian gaming area at Ocean? Because it's like sort of just in the middle of the casino, right?
It's fine. I mean, it's kind of always been there, so I don't know.
You don't wish it was its own room like at many other casinos?
It doesn't bother me. Like at Borg, it doesn't bother me that it's out in the middle of the floor.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had a strong preference one way or the other.
No. I mean, it's better when there's girls dancing at the... whatever, because you can kind of see it from that area, but at the speakeasy, I guess now is what it is.
You don't think they ever have girls dancing there anymore?
Yeah, I don't think it happens anymore. They used to.
Yep. Way back 2 years ago when they opened.
Yeah. And certainly as Revel they had all the time too. But
headed to Caesars?
Back to Caesars. Before I left, I went to Zhenbang at Ocean. It was very good.
On par with Kwai? Better than Kwai?
It was probably on par, I think. I don't think it was better, but it was very, very good. It was incredibly inexpensive. I had a $35 food voucher, so it was restaurant week, so I got kind of an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert for $15. So then I also got a pot of tea and a fairly expensive sushi roll to go with it to just try to use all my money. But it was good. It was good.
Cool. Then back to Caesars, and what did you do there?
I gambled for a little bit and drank a lot and got absolutely slaughtered playing, I think, exclusively 9-6 jacks or better in the pie limit area.
So what's that, $2? $2
$2
denomination, so $10 a spin?
Yep, that's my machine. I got just murdered, so I went up to the room pretty early. It was probably like 7 or 8 at night. Oh boy. Yeah, so I was like looking around and I was like, I wonder what I should do. And I told you, I was like, maybe I should go out to Ducktown Tavern because it's not too far of a walk from there. But I was already quite drunk, frankly. And I was just like, nah, it's not a good idea. So instead I just kind of surf the web on my computer, and I probably went to bed at like 10 or 11, and woke up the next day quite hungover, and certainly a lot lighter in the wallet than I would have hoped. And yeah, I don't know. What did I do in the morning?
Cried.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you remember what I was doing when you got there?
You were at Bally's, I think?
Yeah, I was just at Caesars again. I think I just went back down to video poker and got slaughtered more at playing 9-6 video poker.
Oh, yeah, because while I was on the bus, you were sending me, like, a bunch of pretty good hands, and I was like, Kyle must be doing pretty well. And then I actually got there, and you were like, this has gone horribly.
It was a disaster. So
that's actually a good lesson for people who follow other people on Twitter or see in the Facebook groups everybody's big wins. You know, you can have a lot of pretty decent wins and still not be doing well if you're playing at high denominations.
Or any denomination, frankly. I mean, I think I'm pretty fast and pretty good at video poker. At least at Jacks or better. I don't actually really know any other games, but like, I don't think I make many mistakes, and I'm quite quick, but the problem with being quick is when it goes bad, it can really go bad, especially at $10 a pool or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, and then you got there.
Yeah, I got there, and we pretty much, I didn't even check in. My bus got into Caesars at, 1 o'clock, and we threw my stuff in your car and went straight to Borgata.
So before that, so I was booked through Saturday, but I decided I was going to go home Friday night. So luckily, this is just when coronavirus was starting to become a thing. So Caesars, you know, the casinos were still open and everything. Like, nothing had happened. There were no states of emergency anywhere, but they were allowing you basically to cancel your reservations with no issues. So I just went to them Friday morning. It was like, I want to leave a day early, and they said that was no problem. So only charged me one night of whatever the $5 Atlantic City fee too. So even though it was like 1 o'clock probably when I checked out.
So Thursday you posted a bunch of pictures of you walking around. By posted I mean texted. Of just emptiness.
It was completely empty.
Was it the most dead you've ever seen it?
I mean, I feel like something that stands out in my mind is, like, I feel like I've gone in December, let's say, to Harrah's and, like, pulled into the parking garage, and, like, I swear it was empty in there. And I was just like, oh. So I don't know if it can quite top that, but for the boardwalk, I think it's probably the emptiest I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I wasn't there on Thursday, and by the time I got there on Friday, I was actually surprised at how crowded stuff was, given the pictures that you had sent on Thursday, but I mean, even my first trip, like, I started going during the recession, and it was like January, I think, in my first trip, and it was really, really quiet. And then I think we went a bunch of winter trips in those years where it was just really dead. But I mean, by the time I got there Friday, and certainly by Friday afternoon, it felt pretty normal. I mean, Borgata. So we went to Borgata.
Yep. We
went to Sunroom, and there were like only a couple other people there.
Yep.
Got lunch at Sunroom. What did you think of your lunch at Sunroom?
I thought it was terrible.
Oh, really?
Do not get the cube in there. It's not good.
I thought I got a cheesesteak, and I actually thought it was quite good. It had some, like, crispy onions on it. The flavor was very good. Your cheesesteak
appealed or looked appealing. My Cuban was basically entirely unappealing. Everything about it, and it was very small.
I think I said when I looked at your Cuban that it looked like a slightly fancier Hot Pocket.
More or less. It wasn't the best.
Yeah. I mean, I would try them again. I got a cocktail called a Sunburn that was pretty tasty. It was, like, much sweeter than most cocktails I make, or drink, but it was good. Then we played at Borgata a little bit, I think. How did that go? We played some face-up pie-out poker?
Yeah, face-up pie-out poker. I had $225 of match play, so I had 9 $25 match play coupons. And I wasn't betting $25. I was betting like $40, which in retrospect I shouldn't have, because is no commission, so there's no reason to bet increments of $20.
Yeah, so you're putting like $35 and then the $25 match play to make it $60?
That's what I was doing, yes. Yeah. I was betting $35 a hand and putting $25 to make it $60, which again was not necessary. Should have just bet $25. But I ended up losing money with my match play, which is absolutely mind-boggling.
$225 in match play.
Yeah. And I lost
money on it. Yes. Yeah. Seems almost impossible that would happen. In Pai Gow, especially.
Yeah.
That was my first face-up Pai Gow experience. Have you played face-up Pai Gow poker before?
Yeah, I'd played a few times before. I think it's mediocre. I mean, I don't think it's better or worse than normal Pai Gow poker. Pai Gow poker is a game I don't think is super interesting for me, but it doesn't make it better or worse for me. I mean, it's, like, cute when you can, like, split your two pair and push because you were going to push anyway, but...
Yeah, at first I really hated it because I sort of didn't like the lack of suspense. I mean, because Pai Gow is so automatic in the way you set your hands to begin with for, like, 90% of the hands or more.
Mm-hmm.
And the only suspense is waiting to see what the dealer has. But I think once you sort of are used to the dealer flipping over the cards first, you sort of just shift your understanding that the suspense is going to be more in what you have, which is fine. And then, and then you get the opportunity for like goofy stuff like splitting weird things that you'd never split, or making a top hand that's just absolutely terrible but still gets you a push because the dealer has like 5-2 or something. But so I thought it was fine. I agree. I don't think it's any better or worse. I think You Can Bet on That was saying they think it's much worse. Like, they do not like it. And that was certainly my first impression, but it grew on me a lot, and I don't really see any reason to think that it's actually worse than regular Pai Gow.
Yeah. I didn't bring this up, but it was in the morning before you got there. I actually played craps at Caesars too for like 10 minutes. And it was an empty table. It's like my dream. I love playing craps at an empty table. $10, 5 times odds. Everything's wonderful. So cashed in for $300. Made 1 point on my first roll, and then 5 rolls after that, just 0.7 out. So lost that $300 in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
It was good.
Your gambling, did you ever have a positive session the entire trip where you like sat down at something and left with more money than you sat down with?
Probably like 1 or 2 slot machines. Like when we played Heidi at Borg, I think I walked away with more money than I cashed in.
Yes, but you did hit a bonus very early in Heidi.
$50 more or something by the time I cashed out.
Yeah, I think you were up like a couple hundred, right? At one point on Heidi.
Yeah, I was up to 200 or 300 at one point. But
you can't stop on like your second or third spin if you hit the bonus.
Yeah, no, you have to keep going.
I mean, you owe it to the casino at that point.
You do.
You are playing with house money, with their money, really. It would be rude to just take that and leave. Yeah, we played what? We played some Heidi, we played
9-6. We played 9-6, Jacks are better too.
Yeah, so I played dollar denomination, which is, I think the last couple trips I've played some dollar denomination, and the one at Hard Rock, it didn't hit me that hard, but at Borg, for me, sort of leaving that early in the trip and then already being down the amount that I was down and sort of thinking like, wow, I'd be down a quarter of this if I was playing 25-cent video poker, and I would feel much better about everything. It sort of made me realize like, wow, I don't think I'm getting more enjoyment out of the dollar. I mean, I like the 9-6 obviously, but certainly I'm fine being a quarter player. I've been watching a bunch of, Vegas vlogs and stuff where they're playing slots at $3 a spin, and it's like, ooh, they get these big bonuses all the time. And I think that's the same sort of fallacy that I was talking about with you sending me pictures of these $10 a hand video poker wins where 4 of a kind is whatever it is, a much bigger payout. And so you're like, oh, that'd be so nice to have that win. But like you said, you ended up losing money. These people typically end up down for the night, even with all their big bonuses, because the swings are much bigger. So I think I'm fine just being a 25-cent player. I'll talk more about my thoughts on all that later. But
okay.
Borg, I think we pretty much just played Face Up Pai Gow and some slots and some video poker, and then headed back to Ocean, right? Because Paul was going toward getting close. And I checked in, got my room. I was on the 20th floor, not the second floor, which was made me much happier. I didn't have a view of a big concrete wall. My view was actually very nice. When I checked in, there was like nobody in the check-in line. I checked in and I saw the person writing a 2, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on the second floor again. But no, I ended up on the 20th floor, and that was quite nice. Then I threw my bags down. You and I went, did you play at all at Ocean?
Yeah, I played a bunch of slots there. Well, yeah, you threw your bags down. I was playing slots for a while and lost another couple $100. Yeah, at that point, I was down so much money. I mean, this was my worst trip, and I think it was my worst trip by a pretty fair margin. Like you said, I lost at basically everything I did, no matter what, just was getting killed. I was quite tired because I didn't sleep well because I was too drunk the night before. Yeah, and I was having some mixed feelings about the trip in general, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was tired. I told my wife I'd try to be home to see her, and it was just like, I need to get out of here.
So you had made your mind up to leave that night. Were you thinking you'd leave like...
Well, I thought I'd leave when you guys went to dinner, which was, I mean, it was like 7 o'clock when I left, and I think you had an 8 o'clock reservation anyway, so it was pretty much then that I thought I was going to leave.
Yeah, so it's funny because Paul got there, and like we were down on the Ocean Casino floor, and he was like taking a shower. And I guess, so I didn't realize that I didn't tell him that you had already checked out and were leaving that night. And so when I was like, oh, Kyle's actually like heading out, basically he doesn't see any reason to stay here just to say like hi and then leave. he was like, "Are you joking?" Because he thought that you were actually still had a full night left. But so did you leave significantly earlier than you would have because of the losing?
I mean, I think that was a lot of it. I mean, I think I had like another $100 on me or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it was way more than I ever thought I was going to lose on the trip. So
yeah, so I mean, I'll get more into my gambling. So you're gone at this point. You're on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Paul and I pretty quickly, I don't think we even played anything. We just decided to go to Iron Room and see if they would seat us early, figuring probably not as many people going out as normal. Because at that point, they hadn't announced any closures or anything yet, but it seemed like it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We didn't really talk that much about, like, did we waver on going at all? And, the 5 of us, it was going to be a 5-person group. 2 people ended up backing out, basically over coronavirus concerns. Was there any point that you thought you might not go?
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't know this, but so we went I left on a Thursday morning to go up there. The Wednesday night at like 10:30 or whatever, like that was the night that the NBA decided to stop playing their games. That was the night that basically all major sports kind of stopped the next day. Like Wednesday was the last day basically that sports happened. Like all the conference tournaments basically got canceled Thursday, or like some went until Friday. But I thought for a very long time Wednesday night, whether or not it was going to be worth it to go. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure at all if I was going to go or not, but once I got on the road on Thursday, it felt like the right decision, and in retrospect, I think it was okay. So, like, once I was there, everything kind of felt normal, and I wasn't too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of just assumed that I would go because I felt like just going to work on the path in New York City and being at work was, like, more dangerous than going to Atlantic City. And I wasn't...
It's the same thing with me, right? Like, I was going to go, if I didn't go, I would have been, like, at the gym in Washington, D.C. Like, I would have been, well, not Washington, D.C., Rockville, but, basically Washington, D.C. I would have been, at lunch with a group of people probably at work. And, like, I suspect it wasn't a big difference in terms of risk for me or risk for everyone else or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, so I was more thinking of it in terms of, like, well, yeah, there's like less risk, probably even less risk of me getting it in Atlantic City than being the things I do every day in New York City. But I wasn't really thinking about it in terms of like, it's not good for Atlantic City for a bunch of people from New York City to be going New York City, as we found out later, well after I got back, that like New York City is basically the U.S. epicenter of this thing. At the time we thought it was Washington State and maybe California. So I think it was expressed much more clearly at some point later on that like, oh, maybe that wasn't the most responsible thing to do. But in terms of my thoughts about actually going, I was very stressed about it and I was wavering about it. And then Thursday night, right before my wife went to bed, I was like, I just don't know like how to feel about this. And we sort of agreed like, it'll probably feel fine once you get there. And if you're about to be locked in your house for a month or something, like it would be nice to be able to do
then
something.
We probably thought it was like 2 weeks, but yes.
Yeah, we definitely
now it's clear that it's going to be much longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like in retrospect, sort of understanding the reasons about like not traveling and carrying virus to other places where you travel. Like if I had understood that better, I probably would not have gone. The talk changed a lot.
Thursday is the day that I think everything changed during that day, pretty much.
And even I got on the bus on Friday and I tweeted, like, I guess this is happening. Because I thought that there was, like, a non-zero chance that I would be on the bus and then they would announce, like, all the casinos are closing at 6 p.m. tonight. Or some crazy early time. And, like, I would get, 12 hours or something. Like, all the casinos are closing at 5 a.m. on Sunday or something, or Saturday. Obviously money is king and it wouldn't have made
They weren't going to close during the weekend. They would have made it through that weekend no matter what.
And then it turned out like Saturday night, everything was very crowded. Like Ocean was crowded, like actually crowded. It was more than just business as usual. I mean, the Distrito bar was closed and there were a couple other little things that were just closed for that weekend that I don't know if they were going to be closed anyway, but otherwise there were a lot of people there. It seemed like a lot of people decided the same thing that I did, which is like, well, if, this is going to happen and I'm going to be stuck someplace for 2 weeks or longer now, it seems like that they were going to go get in their last hurrah at the casinos. And that was sort of when I realized like, oh, they need to close this. Like if this is the way people are going to have that attitude, myself included, like this is too much of an attractive nuisance sort of to be spreading disease everywhere. But
right.
I mean, I think we're going to talk more about sort of all the closings and stuff next episode and not get to that this episode, although we've sort of talked about our feelings from a trip standpoint.
I will say something I considered very much when I was kind of sitting on my laptop Thursday night. I was going to tell you we should cancel, like, we should not be texting where we are. We should not be trying to meet up with people. Like, I very nearly sent you the text that, like, hey, we shouldn't be encouraging people to, insofar as, I mean, we're lucky that we're not, lucky in quotes, that we're not very popular, so I don't think, like, too many people base their decisions on whether or not we're going to be there, but I do think that it was probably irresponsible for us to be kind of promoting it in the way we were, so I wish that we didn't do that. I think, you know, I mean, I get to see you twice a year or whatever, so, like, I wasn't upset about us going, but...
I mean, yeah, I don't think we increased the number of people in
No,
Atlantic City.
No. I don't think so either. Like I said, we're not popular enough, but we could be.
Back to the trip. We went to dinner at Iron Room. It was a limited menu. I wanted just the regular Iron Room menu, but they didn't even have that as an option. They had sort of the bar menu, which is what they have during the week, even though it was Friday night, or they had restaurant week. So Paul and I both did restaurant week. Between us, got almost everything on the menu just because the restaurant week menu is pretty small. Everything I thought was completely delicious. So I was very happy to be able to get an Iron Room experience. I actually think it was even better than my first Iron Room experience, which I thought was good, but not like I wasn't blown away. I mean, it probably doesn't even matter to say what the dishes are because they're not going to be on the regular menu and they change their menu all the time anyway, but it's this like really thick cut bacon appetizer, breaking my no pork rule, and then a steak. And they came with the dessert. Got a couple cocktails. There's something called the RNS Russian that is amazing. It's like a dessert in and of itself, and it's really, really good. Paul and I both got that. And I got a Manhattan that was also maybe the best Manhattan I've ever had. So good drinks, much better drink experience than when we were at Rhythm and Spirits the first time. And the interesting thing is the dining at quote unquote Iron Room at night is actually in Rhythm and Spirits. So we walked into the Iron Room entrance that's normally a coffee shop, and they walked us through a door, and all of a sudden we were in Rhythm and Spirits and just sitting at tables there. So the Iron Room is Rhythm and Spirits. Rhythm and Spirits is the Iron Room, I guess. But it was a very good dinner. We hung out there for a while, got a couple drinks, ate some good food, felt good about ourselves, and walked back to Ocean. And once we were at Ocean, we actually met up with two people, Carrie and Joe, who we'd met before. They were at the Golden Nugget meetup that Ed sort of organized a couple of years ago. It's probably more than a couple of years ago at this point. They got a couple t-shirts. We ended up playing some various slots with them for a little while and then heading over to Villain and Saint to get a couple drinks and listen to some music. Another cover band. I was feeling pretty good about life at that point. A few drinks in. Both my drinks at Villain and Saint. My cocktail was like not amazing. Like too watery. And then the beer I got was Course and Dunk Christmas Ale, but it was March 13th. And probably that's too late for Course and Dunk Christmas Ale. It definitely tasted like it had been there for a while. So, but I still like Villain and Saint a lot for like atmosphere. I think their food is very good. And then I think we wandered around a bit more and played some more slots. Tried to play some video poker. I popped over to the William Hill bar and sat down. I need to just not think that the William Hill Sportsbook bar exists because it is horrible. Like everything about it sucks. The drinks are bad. What is comped is bad. The ceiling's low and it's so smoky. There's just nowhere for the smoke to go and it doesn't escape. The video poker pay tables are not good. And the service is just horrendous. Like I could not get the bartender's attention to save my life. For me, one of the things that I really like about a casino trip is sort of ending the night playing video poker at a cool place and getting some drinks, preferably at a video poker bar. And just Ocean does not offer that as a good option. And they have a sort of adequate option at 1927, but that was not, the bar was closed there. So you could play at the machine, but you couldn't get a drink. So I don't know. I think it's a big, big downer for me about Ocean that bar sucks so bad. Paul went to bed. I ended up going to get gelato at Rocco's, which was fine. I didn't throw it up, which is always good. And then, went to bed at like 2:30. Woke up at the exact minute that my alarm normally goes off at home. So I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I think I got like 4 hours of sleep or something, which kind of sucks. And then we were kind of debating about what to do about breakfast. Like, do we want to get a big breakfast or try to go get lunch somewhere? And ended up just walking back to Iron Room. So we went to Iron Room and got coffee and breakfast sandwiches, which were pretty good, and sat there for a little bit, walked back to Ocean and decided to play a little bit before heading to lunch, and played some more slots. Actually, I decided not to put my card in. I played on Paul's card. And I was, again, like you, I was down to $100 at that point, and I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to slow play some slots of video poker and see how this goes, and then if I end up with a little money left, I'll go throw it on a craps game. So we played some Buffalo slots and a couple other things, and I ended up, I don't know, I think I had like $120. I think I ended up like $20 and decided, okay, let's go play some craps. So then that was when we found $10 craps with only one other couple on it. They quickly sevened out, so it was just me and Paul, and it was like up at the very start, and then just immediately like down. I mean, I got a decent amount of time for my $100, considering it was only $100. And then Paul switched to the don't and ended up rallying slightly, and then even from the don't he was the only shooter at that point, so he was rolling from the don't, and even he ended up losing all his money from the don't. So not a good crap session, but glad I played a little bit of craps on the trip. And then at that point we headed to Wingcraft for lunch and parked at the Applebee's. You can park at the Applebee's and they will validate your parking at Wingcraft, and then you can go and they'll give you your $10 back once you go to leave. So we ate at Wingcraft. Beer list still incredibly impressive. The burger I had, I was much more impressed by the burger the first time I went to Wingcraft than this time, but I don't know if it's just that I ordered a less impressive burger. And then we hit the road and Paul dropped me off at the Philly train station and I went home. That's the trip.
Nice.
They would not let us gamble on the same card unless I was just, unless we were just like combining money on craps, which I think is pretty normal.
They won't let you do it. If you're playing the pass and he's playing the don't, that's usually when they crack down on it.
No, before we even bought in, I just asked if I could play on his card and they said no.
That's weird.
It's Ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, and before we left, we stopped at Little Water. I can't say Little Water. We stopped at Little Water Distillery and I grabbed a bottle of the new Rusted Revolver gin, made a cocktail with it that night, which was excellent. One of my favorite cocktails to make is a bee's knees, which is just gin, lemon juice, and honey syrup. And I made side by side Plymouth, which is a very good gin, and Rusted Revolver. And my wife and I both agreed Rusted Revolver made the better bee's knees. So I highly recommend, if you're a gin person at all, try the Rusted Revolver gin. It was $31 for the bottle. And it's the thing that I really like about it is it's not really juniper forward like other gins. It's like a little bit citrusy and has some other botanicals in it. So it's not like sucking on one of those pine tree air fresheners.
I don't think I'd like that. I mean, I'm not like the biggest gin fan, but the juniper is like the only reason I drink it. So, I don't know.
I think that's I'm interested to make like gin and tonics and stuff with it because I expect it will make a mean gin and tonic, but I really like it. I was sipping on it while I was making the first cocktail I made with it, and I was surprised at how drinkable it was. Just neat.
Gin and tonics are good, I have to say. Not like Gin and Club, which is just terrible.
Who would order a Gin and Club?
Back when I was both an alcoholic and also trying to be a little bit healthy, I'd be like, yeah, tonic's not that good for you. Maybe I'll have Club. And it just wasn't good. Back in the college days.
So that's your great shame. So my shame is I went and I bought it, and then later, like as I was leaving, I tweeted like stopped at Little Water with like a picture of the gin I bought and a couple of pictures of the inside. And I get home and I see a tweet from Little Water Distillery like, dude, why didn't you say that you were from like who you were? And I don't know. I always feel like it's very presumptuous to be like, yes, we have a podcast. But I mean, really, it's just promotional, right? Like, hey, we have a podcast.
In the Ocean bit, do we do that?
Yeah. Because I don't want to come off like you should know who I am. I mean, but I mean, in retrospect, that's stupid because you can still say like, hey, I really like your stuff. I happen to have a podcast called Do for a Win. And I didn't. And Route 40 tweeted at us. They seemed to think it was funny.
They always do.
So I don't know. I do. That's definitely my favorite Little Water, libation or whatever, Little Water liquor that I've had so far. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I was talking to Paul about after this trip, as I was down already, like most of my bankroll for the trip, was do I have Atlantic City fatigue, Ocean fatigue, because this was my third trip in a row where I stayed at Ocean, or just losing fatigue because it was my fourth losing trip in a row. You know, it's one thing if you lose like less than $100 or less than $100 a night because you sort of like, that's even basically. But like losing more than I'm maybe used to losing in a trip. And it's kind of rough because it's like, we do an Atlantic City podcast. I've always, we've joked that we're two of the people who are most excited to go to Atlantic City of anyone who goes to Atlantic City ever. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the last couple trips I've really not left, but like gotten home and sort of thought like, ugh, that wasn't great. Like there are things about it that were amazing, but like as an overall trip, is this really better than doing something else? And that sucks. And then usually what ends up happening is that after a couple of days I get over it and I'm like, oh, I really want to go to Atlantic City again. But this was the first trip I think I've had that feeling like at a point during the trip.
Mm-hmm. I feel a lot of the same thing. I think it's probably a couple different things. I mean, I think some of the problem for me is that, like, I tend to only be able to go on, like, a time schedule that's different than everyone else. So I tend to be there quite a bit alone. And though, we joke all the time about how much I love gambling, I have to say, like, I think I'm at a point in my life where just, like, gambling for the sake of gambling does not have the same allure it once did. I mean, back when I lived in Arizona, it was, I'd go to the casino, not regularly, but, semi-regularly at least, periodically just on my own. I went to Vegas on my own, just because it's a thing I enjoyed. And now, I live 15 minutes from Maryland Live, let's say, and 25 minutes from Horseshoe. And, I never, ever, ever, ever go to either of them. So I think gambling doesn't quite have the same allure for me as it used to. And so it's really becomes a trip about hanging out with people. And like, I don't get to do a lot of that just because I tend to be able to go more during the week when you can't go. And so I think that's part of it for me.
Like a big part of why we end up in Atlantic City anyways is like it's between us, right? Like that was a big part of why we ended up going, I think, as often as we did after the first time I went. And so afterwards I was definitely thinking about, well, where would we go instead, right? Like, would we just go to Philadelphia? And so I was thinking, like, I like Philadelphia. There's good restaurants and bars.
But that's obviously ridiculous, right?
Like, why would I go to Philadelphia when I can go to Atlantic City? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Of course, right. There is no reason.
But I do agree with you. Like, I've never been somebody who, like, needs action, right? Like, the gambling was sort of titillating when I first started it. And it's like, oh, I'm doing something that's, my parents wouldn't approve of. Which I don't think was the case for you, but before this last run of like 4 trips in a row, it's over the course of 2 years, right? Because we haven't been going that often, or like a year and a half of bigger losses. Like I had mostly pretty even trips, like within $100 a night, plus or minus. And then I had one really big win that was like, well, for me, really big win, almost $1,000. And then a trip that was like minus, like losing almost all that. You can, not almost all that, but.
I was going to say, if you lost $1,000 in a trip, I would be absolutely shocked.
No. I mean, like half of that. But, and you justify that by being like, well, I won this all last trip. Like, right? Like the money's from the previous trip. You didn't have to go to the bank at any point. But when you have just like 4 losing trips in a row that are more than you're used to, it sort of drains you a little bit more and makes you think like, oh, that really sucks. Whereas even like, when you're sort of like alternating winning and losing, it's much easier to say like, oh, well, Atlantic City is very cheap because the hotel is free or very cheap. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you might lose money, but you might win money. And when you have a bunch of trips in a row where it no longer seems like you might win money, all of a sudden it's like, well, why am I going to Atlantic City? Because like it's not cheaper if I'm going to lose however much money. So that's a big part of it. I think probably the biggest thing that is sort of creating this fatigue is just losing. Right. Yeah. Like I think if I had a trip where I went and I even like lost less than $100, which I like probably most of my trips to Atlantic City have been these like $150 or less lost trips. Like those trips feel like break even. And that feels good. Like when you leave and you're like, oh yeah, I gambled, I had fun, and I only lost $50 or I only lost $75. Like that feels really good, even though it's not winning for me at least. Cause I'm, like I said, I'm like not somebody who just like needs action and is like, I need to win big or lose big. Like that's not just the way I'm wired at all. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think another part of it is like going to Ocean 3 times in a row. Like we joke about all the time. I like to wander around. Ocean is like not that fun to wander around in. I like Ocean. I think it's very nice. It has good restaurants. It's interesting. It looks nice, but like, it's not fun to just like wander in.
I'll take a more controversial stance and say that I spent quite a bit of time at Ocean this trip. I spent part of both my days at Ocean, and I do not like Ocean.
Just the vibe?
Yeah, that's it, right? Like you look at all the the parts, and I've probably said this before, but, you know, like, the restaurants are very nice. Like I said, Jinbang is very good. You know, the rooms are very nice. Like, my experience, like, physically with the dealers, like, tend to be good, and, like, I don't have any problems with, like, any of it, but, like, somehow it doesn't make a cohesive whole, and, like, when I think about the property, like, I don't have a good feeling that comes to me.
So I was talking to Paul about that sense, and, like, why do I like just wandering around Hard Rock or Borgata more than I like wandering around Ocean?
Like, I'll go farther. Like, legitimately, like, I enjoyed my time, even though I lost a lot more money there, at, like, Caesars and Bally's, like, way better than I did at Ocean.
Wow.
Like, I would much rather spend time at Caesars and Bally's.
So to me, like, Ocean, there are things about it that I really like. And even the wandering around, like, as I thought about it more, I was like, well, you know, the lobby level is gorgeous. And if you can go up there and sit and have a drink and, like, take a break from the gambling, like, that's a good way to do that, or sit by the fire pits or whatever. But when you're on the casino floor, all that stuff feels so separate. The shopping, which, you know, there's not that much there, like, feels very separate. Even the restaurants feel very separate. And then the lobby, you've, like, got to go up to an escalator, and so you don't even think to do it because it's not connected at all. And so it's funny because it was sort of built as this resort where the gambling can be extremely secondary. Like, you could never set foot on the casino floor if you don't want to. But in an odd way, like, I felt more sucked into the casino floor once I was there than I do at any of the other casinos in Atlantic City, because it's not so easy just to hop off the casino floor and go do the other things that look interesting. Whereas, you know, Borgata's, everything's just on that one level. Like, if you want to go anywhere, it's like an offshoot of the casino floor, and you pop off into the, like, sort of exterior walkways, and you're going to anything else at Borgata.
Mm-hmm.
And even the wandering, like, there's something about Caesars having Caesars Bally's Wild Wild West, and a lot of that's just nostalgia for me, but, like, being able to sort of do that walk, like, adds something to the experience that Ocean just, like, doesn't have for some reason. So, like, even though objectively I think Ocean's a very nice property, I think I need to not stay there my next trip. Like, I can't, it's not a place that you should make your home and stay at all the time if you don't specifically love Ocean. Because, like, to me, there's just not enough to draw my attention. Because what I want is to wander around. Like, that's what I look forward to, is just, like, looking around at stuff and being like, that's cool. And, like, Hard Rock has that in spades with all the memorabilia and stuff. And, like, even the upstairs, you can kind of wander around. There's more memorabilia upstairs, like, not even around the casinos. And it's very obvious, like, things usher you sort of to the upstairs, like the big guitar chandelier, escalator. And so, like, Ocean doesn't have any of that. Like, everything, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Again, I don't think that's as big a part of it as the losing. But I think it gives me fixable things to think about. So, like, one, next trip, don't stay at Ocean. Like, stay somewhere else, because there are other places that I think I would prefer to just do my wandering around. And sort of maybe related to that is, like, be more cognizant of getting into this loop where you're just, like, sitting a machine, putting some money in, losing it, and then immediately just thinking about, like, oh, what other machine can I go to? Or, like, what other table can I sit at? Because, like, that's not where I get my enjoyment out of my Atlantic City. Like, I like doing that, but I like doing that for a very short amount of time. And when I get sucked into that for, like, 3 or 4 hours at a time, even with the break for Villain and Saint, like, it's still, that night was, like, massively gambling focused. And I think the way to do it, honestly, is just to bring less money and to make it stricter for myself, that, like, there's non-casino stuff that I want to do. I'm going to force myself, by knowing that I have a small bankroll, and to, like, do some of this other stuff, whether it's, like, sitting and get a drink, and paying for a drink, which I know is, like, complete blasphemy to a lot of gamblers, but or, you know, wandering around someplace, or, like, popping to a different casino and walking around and wandering around, like, resorts or whatever it is, depending on where I'm staying, or walking all the way down to Tropicana. It was a sucky thing to have to think about, of, like, this feeling of, like, well, I didn't love that trip. And obviously there were extraneous things that are happening around this trip, but it was nice to come out of that with, like, okay, there are very fixable things here, and I'm already, like, really excited to, like, enact those in my next trip. Whether I do or not, we'll see.
I do have to say, for me, I think part of the reason I didn't really enjoy this trip that much either is I do think all the news and stuff affected me to some level. I will tell you, I played a lot more machines than I usually do. I mean, I'm usually primarily a table games player, and I was not on this trip, and I don't really enjoy playing machines too much. But I think I wanted to try to avoid people at some level, I think, subconsciously.
Yeah.
So I ended up just playing machines a lot more, and I don't love playing machines. I mean, you know that I play by far more table games than machines, and I didn't on this trip, so.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more like a multi-trip thing, I think, of like, I sort of feel like I found myself getting sucked more into sameness. And even before it was Ocean, it was like, I was sort of looking back at my trip logs, like I had multiple Hard Rock trips in a row. But like after 3 Hard Rock trips in a row, I was like, my thought was still like, I love Hard Rock. It wasn't like I should stay somewhere else. But yeah, definitely next trip, I think I need to
Harrah's.
Force myself out of Ocean.
Trip.
Yeah.
Harrah's.
Maybe this doesn't even matter because all the casinos are closed and who knows when they'll reopen. But by the time we go back, I may feel like, oh, I really miss Ocean. It's been so long. But what is the over-under date on when we get back to AC?
I suspect the casinos are going to reopen in not too long. That would be my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think sometime in
what are you
early
thinking?
May. Like May 1st or something. I don't know.
I was going to say like late April, probably. I don't even think it's going to be that long. But I bet we do something in the summer for sure.
Yeah, so my summer was looking really rough because there was like back-to-back stuff and I was taking a ton of leave and I was going to be out of leave, except now some of that has been canceled or pushed back a full year. And so now it seems like I might actually have plenty of time.
So I'll tell you what, assuming everything seems like it's going to be fine, what I'd really like to do this summer, and this has not been run by wife or anyone, but it's been a long time since I've been in Vegas, Greg.
Oh boy. I don't think I have any cachet for that after last year.
Yeah, well, that's going to be my goal. Assuming, like I said, everything is fine and dandy and, and things are better. I'm gonna see if I can make Vegas happen.
I mean, you've got other people who are gambling friends that you could probably make that happen with.
Yeah, there's definitely my best friend from Arizona State. I would definitely visit him probably in Vegas. So.
Yeah, I just can't imagine any way I would be able to swing that a second year in a row. Maybe the next year, but more power to you. Yeah, good luck if you can make that. I still have a goal, even with all of this stuff going on, to make it to a non-New Jersey, Maryland casino. Even Pennsylvania, I feel like that doesn't really count. Like, you can't just go to parks. Like, that's Atlantic City adjacent.
Oh, I never told you.
Connecticut or somewhere else, or yeah. Anyways,
I went to Charlestown Races and Slots
why
a month ago. Because I was in West Virginia.
How did this not make it on the podcast?
I forgot to bring it up. I mean, I was only there for like an hour because I had to go home to my family. But
so was it that forgettable that you just completely forgot that you went?
Yeah, that was a good word for it. I mean, it's a casino like every other casino. I don't know. It was fine. It was totally fine. Everyone was nice, but wasn't there for that long and won a bunch of monny actually. Won
nice.
$200.
So. Growing up as we both did in Maryland, that was the casino, right? Like all of the ads for casino related stuff, except for, I think I had a Baltimore Skipjack's little pouch that had Harrah's Atlantic City on the back of it. But like all the ads on the radio and everything were Charlestown Races and Slots. Like that was the closest casino because there was no casino gambling really anywhere else. But yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of anyone going to Charlestown Races and Slots since any casinos have opened in Maryland or Pennsylvania.
It was fine. I mean, I wouldn't go out of your way if you live near MGM or Horseshoe or whatever. That's my Charlestown Races and Slots review.
Interesting. I mean, we've got some new stuff, but I feel like that could probably all just
wait. I think it can wait. Maybe I don't know if you're available for it, but I'd say we should do another episode next week, and then probably won't even cover everything then. But I suspect there will be a bunch of time with not very much news. So
a whole bunch of time. We'll just record an episode every 3 days that nobody's listening to because they're not commuting.
Yep,
that sounds perfect.
Yeah, that's what the people pay us for.
I think that sounds good.
Our Patreons.
Yes, our many Patreons giving us we're just flush with cash. So really, the losing. I don't know why I'm bothered by the losing because.
So we'll talk a little bit about the casino closures next time. We'll talk about February data. We'll talk about online gambling. We'll talk about Trump Plaza. So we've got a bunch of stuff we need to talk about, but I think for now we can close this up. If you want to reach out to us or any of our other listeners, you can do so on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/do-for-a-win. I've been denying a lot of stories recently. That's how I spend my time.
I think we're at under 50% success rate for people posting.
For me, it's like 1 out of every 5 or 6 probably. You can find all of our wonderful content or buy a shirt at doforawin.com. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify, but not YouTube. Reach out to Craig on Twitter at doforawin or me at Kyle Askin, and send Craig some questions at doforawin@gmail.com. Any last words before we get to Boardwalk Empire Episode 3, Craig?
Any last words sounds much more ominous given the situation, but no,
Any
I don't.
last words before you succumb to the coronavirus?
No, let's get into Boardwalk Empire. I totally forgot we were going to talk about this, even though I have it in my notes.
So
And literally watched it less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, as did I. I was watching it 24 hours ago. But, yeah, so just to do a quick rundown of the plot.
Episode 3.
We mentioned last episode that there was a survivor of the shooting, and before he unfortunately passed away, fingered Jimmy in the murder. And so immediately after he did that, somehow everyone in the universe knew that this had happened. But that's fine. That's probably actually true to life. So yeah, Jimmy gets fingered in the murder. Everyone knows, whether it be the cops or Nucky or Rothstein or whoever. So Jimmy's in some unfortunate circumstances, and he has to end up skipping town and is heading towards Chicago at the end of the episode, where undoubtedly more fun and hijinks are going to happen. What did I miss? What big plot points?
I think as far as like overall long-term story plot, like that's it. I mean, there's stuff with the battered housewife who's now got a job thanks to Nucky. There's stuff with Jimmy's mom, who's still hot, by the way. She must have been like 16 when she had Jimmy. I don't understand the dynamic there. Like, she looks younger than Jimmy's wife.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the main plot points, right? One thing I'll say, I got ready to watch the episode last night, sat down with a nice big bowl of ice cream, loaded it up, and the first thing that happens is, greeted with dudes' guts hanging out of them. And then later they're like sticking stuff into Lucky Luciano's pee hole because he's got the gonorrhea. And then, the FBI dude's like grabbing the guy's entrails literally in the episode. Like, it was just not a good episode to be eating in. So, I think after episode 2, I was sort of like, maybe my wife would like to actually watch this show. And then after episode 3, I was like, not a chance.
You're very sensitive, if that's all it takes for you.
No.
Because
I did way over the top for me.
Think this show is terribly graphic or anything at all. So
no, I was not feeling it. My key takeaway from the episode, with lots of boardwalk stuff and the French place where the housewife was working, and the musical stuff that they talked about, that Nucky's girl is trying to get into some show, it seems like.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant the song about how much better dumb girls are than smart ones.
Yes. AC, super glamorous. I think that's
Indeed.
the main 1920s Atlantic City. The most glamorous place probably you can possibly imagine.
I have to say, get to meet Omar, who seems like he's going to be a pretty big character.
Omar.
Have you watched The Wire?
I have not seen The Wire, but I know who Omar is.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's like terrible. I'm not even from Maryland. Chalky White. So I knew about like Chalky White's sort of character.
Yes.
So I was excited for him, and we see like a second of him in the first episode.
Yeah, episode 1, yeah, he's in for a very brief matter, but this was the first real episode he's been in. And
yeah.
I can't believe you haven't watched The Wire. I think it is the best television show ever made.
Nope, never seen it.
It's very good.
I mean, do you have any thoughts on Chalky White and his crew and the race riot or race war that maybe is about to happen?
All I know is that is not what Nucky wants because it's an election year.
That's true.
That's what I was told. Chalky White using the adversity to get a better deal. Good for him.
So like Chalky White's sort of helping Nucky turn liquor into more liquor. I think they said 300 bottles into 1,000 bottles or something like that, which tells you.
I think it was 500 into 2,000.
Yeah, it tells you the quality of the liquor that you're probably getting at any
local establishment,
speakeasy in probably any major city during Prohibition. But
you didn't talk about yet. I think I've done the scene of the episode, the last 2 episodes. You have not brought up the scene of the episode this episode.
I think I might know what you're about to say.
Do you know what it is?
Is it a Lucy the Elephant postcard?
Oh, it wasn't, but that was very good when they were in the post office,
yes,
reading other people's correspondence. No, it was the 6-second shot of the federal agent eating dinner with his wife at home when he got ordered to.
Oh man, so weird. The federal agent guy is so weird. Van Alden, yeah, very bad guy.
So good, so good.
And really, they really make a good job of making you hate that guy. It's like, oh man, he's like a creeper, and he's just like this weird, just like over the top, by the rules guy, but also like really ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the character development's good.
Good times.
The one thing I also sort of came away with this season was like, throughout the episode, I was just like, I don't see how Jimmy lives for like even 5 more episodes, let alone another 50 episodes.
Yeah,
like,
but he went to Chicago.
Yeah, he was on a train to Chicago, so.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yep. So that's my thoughts on episode 3. I don't have anything else to add. Although I am very happy that there's like, we're still getting lots of boardwalky stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I still enjoy it. I think I'm sure I'm going to regret, leading into episode 4 when it's time to do my homework again. I'll be like, I don't want to watch this, but I was, during and after the episode, I was really happy I watched it, and I hope it continues.
So the dumb thing to get like meta is like throughout the 2 weeks between episodes, I was like, oh, I could really go for an episode of Boardwalk Empire, and then
I don't do that at all. I'm just like, don't do it until the night before, and I'm like, I guess I need to do it, and then I'm happy the whole time I'm doing it, though.
Yeah. So then last night, 11, whatever rolled around, and I was like, oh, crap, I need to watch this episode. And so again, it like felt like homework, even though if I had done it any night before last night, it wouldn't have. So that's how I work. Procrastinator plus, feel like any obligation or responsibility is like a giant drain on me. And that's why we don't have a Patreon.
Yeah. All right.
Good episode.
So anyway, we will talk to you guys next week. Right, Craig?
Maybe.
Okay.
I like how we went from talking about possibly doing a podcast hiatus because of coronavirus to now doing like weekly on the clock.
Well, we'll talk to you guys soon anyway.
Yeah. We'll see how long this takes to get edited before we talk about doing an episode next week.
Thank you very much. And we hope you all stay safe.
You know what? I need more booze.
You said you were getting booze in the G-Chat.
I decided to listen to some songs instead. Worst podcast ever. Okay, I'll be back.
Yep.
I literally have to walk 10 steps. You'll hear me pouring my drink.
Cool.
Whoa. Okay, I've got my Knob Creek.
I don't fully understand what the wood chipper really did to help you make a drink, but